This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I see General.
Okay, let's start with clerk items. That's the approval of the public hearing and regular board minutes from September 19th. Do I have a motion?
So we actually need to delay that again because Peter sent it to us, so we do it at the last time.
Okay, so we'll second table that one.
Yes.
I don't know if he gave me up. Sounds like it was a bad day all around for everybody. Let's see here. No, nothing from Peter. Oh, there we go. I cannot make tonight's meeting. Finishing concrete in the rain. Okay, so do I have a motion to table the meeting or the public hearing meeting minutes for the 19th?
I'll make the motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. What's the record on number of tables? 2 right now.
Right, probably, yes.
Okay, how about the October 3rd meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any questions, corrections?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Those are accepted. Electric department invitation for bids, distribution transformers. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Was answered at the workshop.
Okay, do I have a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Electric department promotion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Should I just mention who it is? It's Michael Woodruff.
No. Jared Hathaway.
I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. Still in my last meeting. Give me 1 second here. Jared Hathaway.
Yes.
He has now moved to second class lineman, step 4. Has successfully completed his second year of lineman school.
Well, he will at the end of this week.
End of this week, okay. Class B CDL, and as of November 5th, we'll have 30 months in from his date of hire as a 3rd class line. And he has the approval of the superintendent, and that would be a step 4 rate increase to $36.95 an hour, effective November 5th. I think I got all that right, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay. We've already had a first and second. We've read that part. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Okay, fire driver. Back where I was, okay. Do I have a motion to accept? And a second?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, and just to mention for the press or the public, it's Michael Woodruff. He's been a member of the Bloomingdale Fire Department for nearly 10 years, along with numerous training certificates from New York State. He's also held the position of fire chief, and he comes with a recommendation from Justin Roy. I have his application here if anyone else needs to see anything further. We already have a first and a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Okay. Olympic Training Center fire truck request.
Nope, volunteer candidate.
Volunteer fire.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is that my old one? I
Yeah,
have to go to my new one? Okay.
So it says officer candidate, but actually she's a member of the auxiliary.
Right.
So what
But
is,
she's going to now be a full-time fire person, was my understanding. Is that correct?
Oh, I thought the application was an auxiliary member.
that's what it said.
Yes, I might have miswrote that.
Okay,
So that's
good.
my fault. That's my fault, yeah.
Maybe I missed it when I was at the last meeting.
Yeah, no,
I thought they
it's,
approved that, but it's not for a
So,
fire position, it is for the auxiliary.
yes.
Can you find that on there quickly?
Right.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yep, you got it right in front of me. Okay. All right, I'm 0 for 3 here. So,
You came in late, you're a little frazzled.
yeah, trying to catch up. Okay, so this is for Ann Sherman
And a Sherman, yeah.
to become an auxiliary member of the volunteer fire department. You've all read her credentials. Do I?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Okay, since I'm doing so well, G is the Olympic Training Center fire truck request. If I remember right, that's almost like a touch a truck thing, what they've got going on, they just want to have a fire.
They wanted, yes, for part of the trick or treat for the elementary, and Justin Roy said that it would work out fine and make it work, so.
Motion moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Okay, that brings us down to item H. No, it's actually G. No, it's H.
It's
Sled dogs approval, Thunder Mountain Sled Dogs. I know there was some discussion on what was going to happen during the World University Games, if there would be a carve out. Did we ever get that resolved?
Chuck says he has no concerns about this, that there will be a spot for them.
Okay.
Probably on the other side.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Where, on Lakeside, on
Towards
Lakeside?
Mirror Lake,
Mhm.
where you know where we.
Where you normally parks, but you're saying on the other side? You mean the,
Or. yeah, just
Like the other side of the,
the bump out or that, okay, all
Circle.
right.
We good?
Yeah.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Okay, and then item I is Lake Placid Horse Show banner hanging. Promptly in advance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Anything else from the folks?
yeah, a couple little things. We have a couple travel requests, one for Chief Dobson to attend a leadership summit in Glens Falls for 2 days in November, $175 plus $109 for lodging. If anyone wants to.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well.
And then the second one is for Jesse Sumo to attend armorer school, which I believe is a requirement. Like, we won't be able to continue with the police department if we do not have him get certified. So that's $500 for him to attend that in Neptune, New Jersey for 3 days.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well.
And this is an annual event, the MEUA Engineering Workshop. Superintendent Davey is asking for himself, Mark Pratt, and Zach Ford to attend in Syracuse for 2 days. Total cost $1,174 for the three of them.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well.
Okay. And one more item, that's a more fun item. Anyone with children who reads the Enterprise knows the design and ad promotion they do once a year with elementary schools. Well, a child decided to design an ad for the Mids Park Band Shell. And since we're the closest it has to owners, the Enterprise asked if we cared to sponsor it. It's $60, and the treasurer said we could find the money for it, and I thought it was a nice community thing to do. So if it pleases the board.
Are we legally allowed to do that?
I believe so. Janet, are we legally allowed to sponsor one of those ads for the paper?
I mean, it's us putting an ad in the paper. We put ads in the paper all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's not for.
And what is the ad for?
Caught me off guard.
It's a promotion for Mids Park.
Well, if we want, yes, we can promote our park.
Cool.
I think so.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as
Okay,
well.
thank you. And I think that is all.
Is also, I don't know if there was ever anything out there about
It's
the
expensive.
Halloween party from the police department, that is not happening, it's for public knowledge, right?
Oh,
What's
okay.
that?
Is that, am I correct on that?
I heard it from you, but I didn't know if it was like publicly
What's
announced.
not happening?
I don't believe the Halloween party.
No, that is correct.
Okay.
But, yes, yes. I explained that to Roost, and Roost, I think is going to try some asking around to see if they could get volunteers, because what Chuck had said was that
Manpower.
manpower, yeah,
Personnel.
the bandwidth to get this all done. So Bruce may be reaching out to Chuck.
Okay, so it might not be.
It may not be. He asked me to cancel the room because it was, at the conference center, and I told him, I'll wait, I'll just wait, see what happens.
Okay, Anything else?
No, that's all.
Is that a new record too for 4 ads?
Sometimes that happens.
Warrant affidavits number 5. Did you review those, Jack?
No, I did not.
Here.
Thank you, Peter, even though you're not here. Do I have a motion to accept warrant affidavit number 5?
So moved.
I need a second.
Yeah, me too.
All in favor?
I,
Aye as well. Anything else to come from the treasurer?
Just the account clerk position has gotten, I think we're up to 7 applications.
Yeah, at least
That's good.
more than all the
So
others
far.
put together, so that's good for your
uh,
department.
It looks like we may have,
They're gonna want to do traffic enforcement too, or parking enforcement.
no parking enforcement, but I think I got 2 leads on Main Street attendance. So
really?
Great. Good news. Okay, anything else? Okay, anything to come under new business? How about old business? Nothing under mayor items, except I'll be disappearing on Thursday for the World Union meeting in Lausanne. Nothing else to report at this time. Anything under commissioner reports?
I guess it does look like I will become the next president of the Business Association if I make it through the election, which is next month, so
Are you the only one running?
I think so.
So pretty much a guarantee, huh?
Good luck and congratulations.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think now, it sounded like once we get through Friday, we will be taking the detour down, even though we're still trying to paint the final painting next week. Have I got that right? Don't quote me, but
Haven't
that's,
talked to
Yeah, I
Brad
haven't.
today.
I think I have that right. I think we're hoping by the end, they're still doing little paving on driveways and all the side things that had to be done. And that's why the one-way detour is still there. But I believe from what he said that by Friday, that'll be done. And then I asked him, so what about the line striping? Because they're still trying to get that done next week when there's some good days. But I got the impression they're going to try to do that around what's there. So don't quote me, but that's what I believe I understood. Okay, anything else from commissioner reports? Correspondence, we had a thank you from Rick Preston and Lake Placid Classic. We also had a nice letter from Bev Reed thanking us for the Brewster Park ceremony. Nothing else.
We got that one today from the Freelanders, thanking the board for approving
Oh.
the board.
The communications board.
I've seen people using it too.
Have you?
Yep.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even get a chance.
Yeah, no, that's okay, I thought I'd throw that in there.
No, I appreciate it. Okay, and that takes us to anybody that might have comments or questions.
I have a question, please.
Okay,
Thank you. I'm a homeowner in the village, and I also have a short-term rental permit. And I had a question on if you could explain a little bit why short-term rentals aren't capped for the short side of things, say 1 or 2 nights. I know you have the long side of it capped, but not the short side.
so I don't understand the question.
No.
Are you saying limiting like the nights, like
Number of
you have to have
nights
it
to
run it at least 3 nights or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
I think that's,
I think the answer to that,
specific to
I-
the rental, if they want to turn it over.
and I think
on
the
a
answer to
monthly
that
basis.
is that the reason we're limiting people in the first place is the disruption to neighborhoods, and the least amount of times they rent their vacation rentals out, the least the disruption is. So I don't think anyone's looked at it from that standpoint. I fear the answer.
So I support shaking the trees and understand the health of the neighborhoods is, I support that wholeheartedly, and we don't want neighborhoods filled with motels, and we don't want them filled with short-term rentals, and, you know, it just needs to be an excellent, healthy neighborhood, and if you wanted to shake the trees a little bit, you could do so by creating a minimum on that side. You do have a lot of rentals that rent out for 1 or 2 nights, and that creates a lot of turnover.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying, have we thought about having, so that they have to rent for 3 or 4 nights, they can't?
If you created if you created a policy that a short-term rental was, say, 3 to 28 days, it would provide an additional avenue to remove some of the incentive or the lucrativeness of this activity.
Does anyone want to speak to that? Would like me to. I think the answer.
I get her point.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see what she's saying.
I do see some of it. Jen, I have a short-term rental as well, and if it turned over every day, that would drive me crazy to have to turn
Oh my gosh,
rental
from a
property
cleaning
over.
perspective?
I agree that 1 and 2 nights seems absurd, but it does happen. And in the spirit of if the spirit of this exercise is to create an environment where some of this is eliminated, this could help. And I can imagine that people who rent a home for 1 or 2 nights could easily be converted to hotels. I can also imagine that people come to stay for a week. If we took that away, I can imagine that they would just go elsewhere. You don't need an exhaustive study to kind of conclude that. But anyway, it's something I've been curious about, and now I'm asking.
We have talked about that in our very beginning conversations, I believe. It isn't something at this point we've decided to act on, but we will be having a public hearing. Does anyone have a ballpark when that's going to happen? Mid-November. It would be great if you could come and speak that or send us a written correspondence on it. But in the meantime, if you'd rather not do all that, we'll still take it into advisement.
Yep. And if I may, another question.
Sure.
So I've tried to stay informed by listening to your conversations and reviewing past conversations. And as a village homeowner, I've learned that I need to pay attention to the town conversations as well to understand the underlying thought and theory that goes into all of this. So forgive me if I've missed a beat. I've tried to stay abreast of things, but nonetheless, I've heard in some of these meetings in terms of noise complaints. And one of the things I hear is people saying, well, what time was the noise? And I would just suggest that there's no time that's a good time to have crazy noise coming at you from your neighbors. And it's almost impossible to wait around for it to be late enough to call on the noise. And as someone who runs a short-term rental, I'm very careful about the noise. I have neighbors who have a very noisy home, and it drives me crazy. And so I would just suggest that the time doesn't matter. There's no appropriate time for inappropriate language and noise from a neighbor's house.
Yeah, I think what you're going to find there is that the only statute that the police or the village could use on that is after hours when we have a noise ordinance. Otherwise, we'd have to write a whole policy for the whole village, not just vacation rentals. And also, I think we have addressed that a little bit by limiting what can be done at a vacation rental, like no weddings, no corporate outings, no parties.
Yep.
Right on those. And let's keep in mind too, that this is not, as they keep saying, a one and done. It'll be a work in progress. And if we find that there's still problems, we'll keep addressing them.
Yeah. Have you considered strongly removing fire pits from short-term rentals?
We've talked about it, but I don't believe we really have decided. So, I mean.
Do you get the impression that some of the noise and shenanigans are hand in hand with fire pits? Or is it just me?
Well.
Some fire pits, some hot tubs you hear too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything goes outdoors. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we are moving more outdoors. People want to be outdoors. That's why they come here.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge. I don't know if necessarily removing fire pits would be the answer to what we want to do. But again, as as the mayor said, every year we'll review this, and if we find out through most of the complaints that it is coming from outside activities because there's a
Yep.
reason to be outside, we can review it again.
Yeah, I would support a moratorium on fire pits just to see if it provided relief.
And I don't know, maybe Janet can help us, but are we allowed to take a segment and say no fire pits and vacation rentals, but allow them in residential? Or would we have to make it a blanket policy?
That would certainly have to be considered from a standpoint of, are you discriminating?
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of this issue comes in. If we,
Yeah.
that they're technically residents
Right.
still, so we would say that there'd be no fire pits within the village, and that wouldn't go over very well. Especially at my house.
Well, I think it's an excellent perk, and it's also a perk to have a permit. And in the spirit of shaking the tree a little bit, it would go a long way in shaking it. And there's a sense as a newcomer to the neighborhood, that there's been a lot of shoulder shrugging to noise, and people don't quite know what to do about it. And it's people learn new habits with the pandemic and wearing masks, and they can learn new habits of maybe being quiet outside, but that's just me. I had another question, if I may.
Leave that question. Another answer on that would be, we are also moving the penalties from criminal to civil, which were
Yep.
I think that's going to help us a lot with enforcement as well. Like I said, we've done a lot of things. We've done the best we could. At some point, we just have to put it in place and see how we did and start working to pick up the things we missed or the loopholes. And we also have to give people a chance to really become good neighbors. I think it's on the vacation rentals to do that so that we don't keep restricting them.
Yep,
And
I totally agree.
If people get slapped with, $1,000 penalty, then a $3,000 penalty, I think they would get rid of their fire pit if the fire pit was the problem.
Yep, I concur. Have you thought about, in terms of enforcement, as an extra, cherry on the top to help move things along? You have the homeowner of the house and you have the entity that represents them. In some cases, they're the same person. In some cases, it's like a real estate agent or a second party. Are you considering fining that party for infractions since they're the one bringing in the renters?
I think it has to be.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really do think the teeth of that, again, is going to be changing it from criminal to civil.
Yep. Fair enough. Thank you. And finally, we are a 4-bedroom home and keep to our maximum occupancy. I'm curious if how to manage when my daughter wants to bring more than my maximum occupancy to the house. She's a college student, and I'm wondering what your view on that is when the homeowner wants to use the house with more than their maximum.
Well,
The homeowner can use the house any way they want. The limitation is if you're renting it. So if you're using the house and you're not renting it, and you have a 4-bedroom house.
Yep.
Under the STR rules, you could have 10 people.
Yes.
If you are using it personally yourself, it's not being rented, you can have as many people as you can fit, as long as your septic system will take that, and as long as nobody's violating any parking regulations.
Yep. Okay, so that would be the case. We rent it out when we're not there, and when we're there, we physically. This would be one case where I know we're going to have more than 10, and so it would stick out. And I don't want to cause any anxiety.
I'm sure, once again, it goes back to you to be a good neighbor to your neighbors and be careful you don't park up the neighborhood. I mean, anything we can do to make better relations between the people that do rent their houses and the ones that don't. So we'll ask for your help there.
Well, thank you very much. It's been very insightful, and I appreciate all the ability to ask questions and the information that you're sharing. I appreciate it.
Okay, and feel free to reach out to me anytime you have a question. Doesn't have to be a board meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Jim Hughes. How y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
Hi, Jim.
Hi. Bear with me. I'm a little under the weather today, so if my voice sounds a little cracky, just be patient. I'm asking today, I wrote to the chief about the closure of the Main Street around our house for this winter event that's going to be going on in January. That being said, we're the only permanent resident that's affected by this that has parking. Now, what's happening with this is that the parking that we have is going to be removed because of the road closure.
Jim, I know, this is Janet.
Hello, Janet.
How are you? I guess you're under the weather.
Yeah, I'm well under the...
That was a redundant question. We certainly have recognized your situation, and that is being addressed. And the chief is aware of it, and they are going to be making some sort of accommodations so that you will be able to get to your residence and park on your property. You will not be required to park in any municipal lot. The logistics of that are still being worked out, but your right to get to your single family residence, and perhaps even, I don't know if your neighbor's house will be done, but the two of you are in a unique situation, and it has been recognized, and there will be accommodations made so that you can drive directly to your house and park on your own property.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have no further questions. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else that has a question? Okay, if there's nothing further to come before the village board, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. One of you has to.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And once again, I apologize for being late. Thank you very much.